First and foremost, I want to take a moment to congratulate the ATPCO team. It's really clear that you've given a lot of thought in your vision, and your new brand refresh is only the start of very many great things for all of you. In the airline industry, and we at Air Canada have just experienced something very similar where after many years of transformation, we also actually changed our look and feel and our color. And internally, we often say, you know, it's a lot more than the paint job. So in ATPCO's case, it's far more precious, you know, than the font and the color, but really it's what it represents that really matters. So I want to take a few minutes to walk you through a little bit what our view is of revenue acceleration and what we believe we have ahead of us in the industry. But just before I start, let me give you a little overview of what we view was accomplished in the last 30 years. Although I'm old enough to be able to do that, I won't give you all the details, but if you think back, 30 years ago, the airline industry was flying at approximately 63% load factors. Today, in 2017, we operate as an industry well above 85% load factor, and you can only assume in peak periods, probably somewhere around 90%. The industry has seen near-death experiences. We at Air Canada were very challenged in early 2000, and as a result of that, we've seen multiple mergers and the introduction of new ultra-low-cost carriers across the industry. Needless to say, the industry is in constant change, and we, as an industry, need to be able to embrace that. In terms of new ambition, two things. We want to become a global champion, which is number one, but the most important is we need to be able to become profitable, have sustainable profitability over time, if we want to be able to invest in all our technology and be able to invest in our product in order for us to, to give the very best to our customers. At the beginning, in terms of RM and the evolution of revenue management, basically we used to look at leg revenue management. So in essence, we began introducing new concepts where we had what we referred to as bid price, which allowed us to be able to look at not only passengers flowing on independent legs, but how we can actually expand, build the network, and provide more revenue for the airline. Over time, O&D, or origin and destination revenue management, gave us also the ability to look at point of sale. So basically, where was the traffic originating, and how can we actually improve our revenue performance? The last phase of the transformation, basically, is the customer shopping is aligned with pricing based on point of commencement. So basically, it's enforced in all channels, and it's powered by cloud capabilities to reach our maximum number of customers with high quality availability. The RM practice is evolving to become more and more aligned with what our customers want and how they actually shop. Now, what are the benefits? There's always a trade-off. We have very large benefits, but also at the same time, the industry needs to deal with some very, very real challenges. From a benefits point of view, the data or the input we have in order to make these revenue decisions is so much better than what we've had in the past. Just to give you a few examples, we can actually look at the value of currency. We actually look at the actual pricing information in order to be able to make the best revenue decision. From a challenging point of view, think about it. The industry has not changed. So if you look at how the investment community, for example, comments on an airline's performance, they haven't changed their ways because airlines have progressed to an origin and destination optimization. In fact, the industry has remained pretty much status quo over time. When you look at it, though, the real challenge is from a human point of view. If you think about it, we've had 80 years as an airline of managing flight legs. And now we need our employees and our teams to be able to embrace the change in order for us to be able to accelerate our revenue performance. You can't neglect the fact that from a change management point of view, how we are going to help people adapt is really critical. The key learnings, the forecast is key. Never underestimate the change management process and the continuous training that's required. And last but not least, the availability takes a whole new dimension. In fact, modern commerce in the airline industry, we could easily say it's achieving consistency and alignment across the entire commercial process to present in real time to each customer the offer that will allow capturing his or her maximum willingness to pay. Basically, when you look at it from a revenue optimization point of view, modern commerce is all about this. Now, when you think about it, RM, though, only comes up with the perfect average value for the next seat. So when you think about it, if you look beyond the traditional revenue management, any customer, for example, who would be willing to pay higher for business travel will only be paying what the bid price should be. So in essence, there is revenue dilution. On the flip side, if you look at it from a leisure passenger, the willingness to pay may be inferior to what the bid price is. In this particular case, it's actually a loss of sale or another loss of revenue opportunity for us. So selling the exact same product simultaneously at two different prices is actually quite risky, unless, of course, it's presented as distinct offers adapted to each customer's need and willingness to pay, bundling together selected attributes, for example, a seat, upgradability, different amenities, flexibility for changes, etc. Takes us into multidimensional segmentation. So airline responses are shaping up to capture the entire willingness to pay. In 2005, we at Air Canada introduced what we referred to at the time branded fares. Let me tell you in all honesty, the back-end process in order for us to deliver that was so complex, we didn't know how long we would be able to sustain such product. We didn't have the technology, we didn't have the tools in order to do it, but in order for us to be able to maximize the revenue, it was a concept that we needed to introduce. Now, we're also moving more towards personalized offers. So in the end, we try and target each customer individually with relevant offers to improve the conversion rate. By doing so, we leverage our CRM capabilities, and we try and do that by understanding the interests and the habits of individuals, and we estimate what willingness to pay based on their historical performance. In essence, it really means that RM is no longer working in isolations. There's three key components that work and need to work together. So in order to deliver a seamless and as direct as possible experience, sales, RM, e-commerce, and distribution work very closely together, and they need to work closely together. Our current areas of focus and development to deliver on this experience in e-commerce are merchandising, instant calendar search, common platform for all devices, and optimal itinerary display. In essence, we want to be able to present to the customer, based on his preference or her preferences, the same across all channels. The goal is to eliminate any friction within the channel. From a distribution point of view, keep in mind the complexity of the different tools and the different systems that we have. So from a distribution point of view, the goal is to optimize on merchandising and also perhaps remove the obsolescence of caching, educating the trade who work with all these different systems, and at the same time, push towards NDC in order for us to be able to optimize. From an RM point of view, however, we need to rethink how the development of these functionalities affect revenue management techniques and the user skills. So RM is no longer just about optimizing revenues using traditional tools, but it's educating and working with the teams in order for them to look at all facets of this ecosystem. Re-engineering RM, three key components. The first, we need to increase accuracy to be more proactive. Basically, if we update the forecast based on advanced bookings, we have the ability to better optimize our revenues and better optimize our performance. Capture customer choice and integrate new data sources predicting velocity and yield spikes. In the industry, for example, we're now looking at ways for us to be able to use AI in order to be able to predict, for example, scenarios, and I'll give you, a large market from from Canada, travel, for example, to Florida? Is there a way for us to be able to look at different weather patterns and irregular operations in order for us to be able to forecast even better what our performance could be in those areas? Packaging and discounting, and at what price? The notion of branded fares, when you think about it, is easy. We all understand the fact that we can produce better margins if we have the ability to provide yield upside through different products, branded fares, and ancillaries. But the real question is far more difficult. How do you price it? How do you present it? And how do you optimize it? Will it be with current RM tools, or do we need to develop further tools in order for us to be able to optimize this fare discipline? Finally, as our industry will implement a transparent and seamless distribution process, it will open the door for even more fundamental long-term questions. Are we moving towards an environment where we will have no booking classes? Are we working towards an environment where we will have continuous dynamic pricing? All of this is what's going to take us into the future. Now, air transportation has entered the era of e-everything. We've seen a few presentations earlier where the notion is actually well understood by the industry, but it's actually very, very difficult for the revenue management discipline, and let me explain to you a little bit why. So air transportation has entered into the era of everything. We need to modernize the distribution process and technologies to support this fast transformation and be quicker to market. We need to create a seamless digital experience consistent across all channels. And we need to adapt the customer's preferences and habits as we expand to serve new countries and destinations and aim to reach out to more customers. But here's the challenge. Bottom line is, in the world of social media, customers actually see live what we try and optimize throughout the entire process. So with the amount of stakeholders inside the process, when you think about it, we need to make sure that at any cost we protect the brand. On the right side, I just wanted to speak a little bit about an incident which regrettably we're not very proud of, but it just goes to demonstrate how we were trying to do right by our customers, but because of the complexity of the tools and the amount of different interactions within the process, we were unable to be able to react to customer demands. So throughout all of this, the technology is very, very important, but it's also important that we all work to ensure that airlines have the ability to also protect their brand while they accelerate their revenue performance. So in essence, maybe we're saying that modern commerce in the industry is achieving consistency and alignment across the entire commercial and operational process to present in real time to each customer the offer that will allow capturing his or her maximum willingness to pay while protecting the airline's brand. In the future, basically, we can say that airlines will seek to manage their own destinies if they don't find solutions to satisfy all these needs. But in essence, we look at it critical for us to advance in terms of science. We're extremely fortunate that we have science embedded in what we do from a commercial standpoint. We recognize that we need to integrate all these tools, these stakeholders, and these processes in order for us to be able to optimize our revenues. We need to be agile and be quick to market and also demonstrate flexibility. In the wise words of Einstein, we say that genius is taking the complex and making it simple. And this is what I think we need to, as best we can, aim to do in order for us to be able to accelerate all our revenue performance.